Yo, 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 welcome to another edition of the Geeky Bros podcast. I'm your boy Tactix.
Yo, it's just Darcy here.
And this is Big Geek Umar. How y'all doing today?
Come
Better
on,
than your
y'all,
ability.
y'all better
Oh,
give me something, man. Y'all better give me something. What the hell, man?
Got in my head. I was like, I'm almost say something right after I say my name, and then
I saw him sweating.
Yo, yo, you know what? Sweating is that mic you're giving all that love to. Why are you so up on that mic, though, bro?
Does, man.
I
haven't seen it in a minute, bro.
Yo, it's your boy Tactix.
Also, I'm eating pistachios, so I don't want to show my face just yet.
Yeah, well, protein shakes to the camera. Let's go.
All right, then.
That was a let's go. I gave it to you, okay?
All right, so we are going to start off our geeky news segment, as we always do, and we're going to start it off with probably the most controversial thing we've heard in a while. It's the TI. It will not be coming back for Ant-Man and Wasp movie 3. Darcy, do you want to lead this one?
You know, when you first said the most controversial, I'm like, everything we're talking about is controversial. So which one's on top of the list again? That's the first thought that went through my head. And I was like, when you said TI, like, yeah, you're not wrong. That is the worst one. So a few weeks back, at least two, I think, a stripper, I think out of Vegas, put up like an Instagram story with several story. And it was all these like DM conversations with other women. And basically, if I were to try to summarize all this, T.I. and his wife have been predatorily bringing lots of women together over the years to sleep with them, and even including situations where they're heavily drugged and I would say borderline or is rape. One situation was one of the women T.I. passed off to like one of the guys in his crew, and she definitely was like called it like she woke up next morning after a bunch of drugs. Some of the women were like knowingly were like, and willingly, and were not like obviously they were going into the situation willingly and for whatever set of reasons of their own decisions. But the woman was describing how they were doing too much sometimes, too aggressive, very bad scenarios. Basically, and it's not like it's one or two, it's like 20. Basically,
Jesus.
The way the women were talking about it in like the DMs and stuff like that were posted, it's like R. Kelly 2.0 plus bring your wife to the story. So there's a lot there. And I definitely don't see any Disney products he's going to be associated with. To be fair, he had gone to prison before for like I think drugs and definitely armed weapon. I don't know if he actually got the charge for the drugs that were in the car, but yeah, I'm kind of surprised in the first place they work with him with his history, and then finding out this, it's not looking good.
Damn, I did not know any of that. I just heard that I thought there was like sexual assault allegations in this on set, but nah, that's so much worse.
I didn't even hear about the on-set stuff. This is just stuff that like popped up because like I do music, and so there, you just sometimes things pop up in that space in the social media, and it just popped up one morning, and it was just like I read like 20 stories from women, and it was just.
Fuck.
It is intense. Like it sounded like there's like situations where like, a woman would not feel comfortable with a situation, and the wife would be like, oh, you don't want to sleep with my man. Like, what's wrong with you? Blah, blah, blah. And like pressure her into it. Oh, like that peer pressure into doing drugs, and the drugs would make women black out, and then they'd wake up, and it's just like, and like a situation, one of those described, like there was like, they had a party with a bunch of women, and after each woman they were done with, they just kind of put them into this bathroom, and like when we're waking up in bathtubs after these occasions. It's bad stuff. It is some bad stuff.
And you just know that if 20 of them have been talking amongst themselves and have come forward, can you imagine how many have not?
Yeah, and of course there's like a lot of stuff that's very there's always a line, right? And there's a lot of stuff that's like for certain people will feel great, because I know that some people have gone into those decisions, making them, whether it's to get something out of it, or they just want to party and they want to have a good time. And most of what was happening, maybe they were okay with, and then something went too far, and it's kind of like, well, that can be very great for some people, right? I can understand how people could be very confused in that situation and what to do with it and whatnot in the future. So, yeah.
Okay, T, did you know about all the stuff ahead of time or no?
No, I had no idea. But then again, I'm not really surprised by this, and this is why I said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't idolize celebrities in the least bit. Like, I've said, like we were talking about this off air about Michael B. Jordan, how that's my dude, but I'm like, I don't put it past, if he is to later come out and say that he's done some crazy shit, or it's been revealed that he's done some crazy shit, not putting it out there that he has, but this is why I don't idolize celebrities or put them high on a pedestal like that. I'm not really all that surprised, especially coming from T.I., like he just exponentially ruined his career in a matter of seconds because of this whole situation, right?
Well, not really seconds, but
right. Yeah, but I mean, it's just it's yeah, I'm not surprised. I feel like this now messes things up in regards to Disney's future decisions to hire any like rappers, you know what I mean? Because they already have that stigma of being womanizers, and just in terms of the context of their rap material, like it just doesn't paint them in a good light to begin with. And like, you have to be almost like consider, like, you almost have to be like a bubblegum rapper to be considered on the Disney roster. Like, not to say that Childish Gambino falls in that category, but he's relatively clean in that regard, as far as we know.
Has Childish Gambino been in a Disney film?
Well, the Star Wars,
right?
Yeah. But I feel like T.I. has kind of ruined anyone else's chances. Like, if you're a rapper, get out of the game now if you want to work for Disney, and learn to knit, or get a job at Costco's or something, because the rap game ain't for you if you're trying to get on that Disney lineup. So I'm not surprised.
As somebody in music, I gotta say that I don't even like seeing artists show up in films unless they are just like actually legitly talented. Like, maybe I didn't know that you were an actor. Like, maybe I didn't like let's say Childish Gambino, the first thing I ever heard about him was music. Like, let's say I was that ignorant to him. Mm-hmm. And then I found out who's like the kind of director actor that he is. I'm like, oh, okay, then all right, I can accept that, right? But in general, I just don't like it often, because too often it's like a marketing ploy to like boost their career, and it's like, but it's not really adding anything to the film. So in general, like, I don't feel like we're at much of a loss. I feel like the ones that would be talented enough to be in both places already would have been considered. So
I think it works in some contexts. Like, for example, with Fast and the Furious, you like makes sense to add a rapper just for kind of the shits and giggles and stuff. And like, look at Ludacris. It's he started off as like a secondary character, not even a secondary character, and then now he's part of the main cast, right? So yeah, it can work in that regard, and within a franchise like that. But now with Disney, they're probably gonna just say, "Yo, no, fuck no way, I'm letting a rapper in on this franchise going forward."
That, or they're gonna vet the hell out of them before they hire them.
I mean, that's essentially what they should have done from the get-go. I mean, I feel like some people have already slipped through the cracks that we've discussed before. Actually, no, that was more so with like the CW and with what's his name, the guy who James Gunn, with the whole the tweets and shit. Right? So, I feel like Disney kind of has to. Well, I mean, I feel like they have to do more of a deep dive into people's personal lives and before the hiring process. I know it's a little bit harder to uncover a lot of this stuff, but
it steps into a place of invasion of privacy, though, too, at the same time.
I would say
like, I just feel like,
but what job gives a fuck nowadays, man? Like, you get screening, like you get criminal screenings for jobs and shit.
Criminal screening is not the same, though.
But even with jobs, they're screening your Twitter and your social media now. Like, that's a thing now. And I feel like Disney's not Disney is not being diligent with that.
I would say that, like, given the fact that Ti had apparently a criminal record prior, probably should have discredited him from joining up with like Disney. But at the same time, like, I see your point, Dax. It's like if people going for like analyst jobs or data entry jobs and that sort of jobs are like getting their Facebook and Twitter like checked to make sure that they can work there, like well, the elongated man, for example, from the CW, like, where the hell were anyone checking his tweets?
Yeah, like I remember when, for example, my cousin CJ, when he was trying to become a police officer, like his social media had to be squeaky clean. Like he had to literally go back before even applying for any jobs or doing any tests. He had to make sure that there was nothing tying it back to him in terms of anything like malicious or anything that was going to discredit him in getting the job, right? And CJ, he's like, he's not like he's not out there in terms of like doing like shady shit or whatever. But even him, he was just like, yo, I have to make sure that like there's nothing that's gonna like work against me, right? So
the man's got one Tupac t-shirt. That's all it is.
Yeah.
that's his hardest moment. No,
yeah, that's as good as it gets.
I put it this way. This is my thought. I don't want to digress on this too much, but like, if you have something like a criminal history, then I feel like it warrants asking around. I feel like every rapper doesn't need to have that scrutiny, because not every rapper is that thing, and it's just an unfair like prejudice to be putting on people.
Actually, now that I think about it, like, given the fact that how African Americans are treated by the law, if you're going to start like screening them for like criminal histories, that's not going to be fair, because the system.
Not just rappers. I think everyone, like regardless of who you are, I think everyone should get a screening.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think we're gonna step into a conversation. It's gonna be so far off that we're never gonna come back out of it. We're never gonna come back. But I'm gonna let my points go at this point.
All right. So moving on to our next topic, which is not very controversial, but it does fit perfectly in line with the individual who's it's about. Zack Snyder, kind of recently. Well, he's been saying a lot of stuff of late. None of it like controversial, just more of his insights on his universe. And I think the one thing that I heard him say was that like he doesn't understand why people are upset about the Martha moment in Batman v Superman. He thought it was like the emotional linchpin of the film, and I was just like,
yeah, I know. An emotional linchpin for a guy who's more into the action porn, For him.
Yeah. And then that followed with this week's news, where he purposely hid phallic symbols all over the place on Krypton.
Well, did he hide them or purposely just include them?
Yeah, they were pretty overt, bro. Like,
sorry.
I noticed them.
I know, but
that he hid them.
There's no fooling anyone. Those ships look like dicks. Like,
he's not subtle. There's nothing subtle about him.
I know he's a small man with a big mouth and a bunch of ego. When I first saw the film originally, I was like, those look like penises.
They were all penises.
I didn't quite pick up that like the planet's like dome was a penis, but I wasn't looking that hard. Like I wasn't going into the film looking for dick symbols. Like this wasn't super bad. Like I didn't need to.
And also like his reasoning for hiding these genitalia wasn't because he was like, trying to say like, Superman's the man, so therefore like all the Kryptonians that like, he was like, oh no, it was a reference to the genetic process / breeding processes of Krypton. I was like, so are you saying that Krypton is so repressed from not making babies on like the old fashioned way that they decided to make penises everywhere as part of their architectural design?
You know what though? As much as that's stupid, I almost kind of like
Darcy. Come on, man! Don't give it to this guy.
No. Because here's the thing, right? A lot of cultures in the world have used phallic symbols.
Okay.
Almost all of them. The only reason I know this is because when I went trip to Amsterdam, my dad and stepmother were like, "Oh, you want to check out a museum?" It was a sex museum, and in the sex museum, they showcase how penises are in every culture's history. Yes, Umar, in your history, in my history,
No.
in
I'm
all of
not.
them.
Like, I'm not. I'm not.
No, no,
I'm
no.
not.
I know.
I'm not.
I'm just saying that like they people do actually use it in cultures as a show of fertility and
How
other
your
types of
family
stupidity.
picky with this thing?
Bro, we were in Amsterdam. It was already weird. Okay, bro, it was noon and I saw the red light district. Okay, like because
Oh,
it's everywhere. Okay, but it was actually surprisingly educational because like things like this. Okay, like women would carve like breasts into like the guy's blade, like in the hilt of his blade before he go off to war to remind him of her and stuff like that. Weird, stupid stuff. It
That's
is what it
tight.
is. But
That's really tight.
but you know what though? Like it doesn't.
what was that?
I said that's tight. That's tight. You don't need women like that, bro, to carve like breasts into our like clothing and shit.
100%, 100%. So I'm just saying, like, yes, it's ridiculous, and no, it does not age well. But at the same time, there's almost something about it I appreciate. It's stupid because I feel like he could have, if he was going to do that, I think he should have done that with somebody else overseeing it as well to help add another layer to it. I feel like you could have had a smarter way of doing it. He just kind of like threw that stuff in there.
Literally on par for me as Joel Schumacher putting nipples on all the bat suits.
It's not that bad. it's a step below that for me because it was better design. It was like at least he had some logic. The other one was just like there's just no logic to it.
Well, sorry. Are you going to tell me that Joel Schumacher's nipples made less sense than Zack Snyder's phallic symbol architecture?
Look, it's bad logic. It can be bad reasoning, but to say that a society of people that don't have sex do phallic symbols makes more logic than why would Batman need nipples in a fight?
Okay.
Argue that. Argue why the nipples have more logic.
His reasoning was that he was Joel Schumacher's reasoning was that he was imitating the Greek form that has been played throughout history. I found that equally as stupid as because Krypton is sexually repressed, and also why was it all dicks? There were women in charge.
Oh, I definitely agree. That's where I'm feeling like somebody else could help make that smarter. They should have been all the phallic symbols like spread out through different places.
What are your views on this, Tactix?
I have no views. I honestly, I didn't really care, to be honest. It was just like whatever. Like okay, cool. I knew about like similar to Darcy. I knew about the dicks because it wasn't subtle, man. It was just like the dicks are like the ships are in the shape of dicks that are flying up into the sky, and I'm like, yeah, those definitely look like dicks. Like there's no like I have never seen a ship look like that before. So
it's not aerodynamic at all.
And I was like, okay, I get the reference, but moving on.
I gotta give it to them on the fact that they fundamentally, like for like these little prisons for people, they at least structurally kind of made some sense. Like they were the shape of a human being. It looked kind of like a sarcophagus. It had a wide base on the bottom just to make sure that you wouldn't fall over. And it was a great reference to ejecting into space.
It had little balls on it too at the bottom.
I know that's the wide base in the bottom, so it doesn't topple over.
So Zod was like trapped sperm or some shit. Like,
oh God.
Bro, it's like putting sperm on ice. We'll store that away later. Maybe we'll make some humans next year.
Oh, anyway, so moving on.
Oh, I love torturing you sometimes.
Yeah, well, I definitely gave you both aneurysms last time with the Mortal Kombat thing, so might as well like give me this one for this ridiculous aspect.
Yep.
Anyway, so moving on. So a short geeky news. So Riri Williams, the character Riri Williams, who also eventually becomes Ironheart, which is essentially she's the next in line to inherit Tony Stark's empire and also become the next Ironheart. Like there's Iron Man, Ironheart's the one that replaces him. So she has been cast, and they're making that film right now. They got the actress, oh god, what's her name? Dominique Thorne, I think. Anyway, so that was recently cast. How do you guys feel about that?
It's a film or a TV show?
I thought it was a film.
No, I'm asking. I actually don't know.
I'm hitting the article right now.
I thought it was a film, but now like I'm worried.
It could be. I was just asking because you said film, and so I was
original series.
Oh, good for them. Good for Disney.
You know what though? Like I'm happy they're doing a lot of these series because there's more content spread out. But two, I feel like if you're going to build up someone replacing Iron Man, I feel like one movie could be too short. I think there's so much emotion that I feel like you need to pace it a little bit. So even if it was like 5 episodes, I feel like you just need to flesh it out and make people believe that transition. You know?
I agree because honestly, like Iron Man is beloved and Robert Downey Jr. is beloved. If you get a replacement who's an unnamed and also let's be real about it, like an unnamed black woman to replace Iron Man, there are going to be some people who are going to be stupid about it. So
there's going to be people stupid about it no matter what. We just have to be good enough that like the people who would back her don't hate her.
yeah. So like the people who back her won't hate her. Like so like they are like. Don't get me wrong. I wanted to believe in Captain Marvel as well, but that film wasn't the best. So, like, we definitely needed more female-led superhero films, and the only thing we had was the first Wonder Woman movie. We know what we all thought about the second one. I would say, and then we still haven't gotten Black. To your face.
It's a trigger. It's a trigger. I'm like, we're not gonna get past it,
man.
It's a touchy subject.
But we still haven't gotten Black Widow yet either.
Oh god, I can't wait for that. You know the thing with
when is that coming out?
We don't know. It keeps getting delayed.
Oh my gosh!
Clearly, we got some pivotal content in that movie because they're timing that thing because like they don't want us to know until they want us to know.
They wanted to specifically for film like a theatrical release. They don't want it online.
That's true too. You know the one thing about Captain Marvel though, that movie was as average. Like
it was not a bad film. It just wasn't a good one.
You know, like the problem was it's mostly it's like it was good in the sense of if you were to go pre-Civil War. Right, like it was on par with some of those films, and one just where it came in between. It came between what Infinity War and Endgame. Didn't like it show up in that? Not a good place for an average film. Like nope. And two,
Ant-Man kind of made it work because like it had a really good ending.
Yeah, but yeah. Like it was needed, but yeah, it definitely could have been stronger. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So, and then our final geeky news before we get on to our big topics for this one is the fact that Raya and the Last Dragon is coming out this Friday on Disney Plus for premium access. I'm definitely going to pay the extra money because A, got to support the film, B, Southeast Asians. Now, there is some controversy. By the way, it's getting 97% on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Okay. You just like Southeast Asians with like no extra information. It just sounded.
No, I know. I wanted to get out this, like the fact that it's getting 97% before I get to the controversy. So it is focused on Southeast Asian culture, but the controversy is Disney pretty much hired exclusively for East Asian cast. I get the frustration. But we're still, like, in my opinion, we're still getting baby steps in terms of like progress, diversity in films. The fact that we were able to get like not a single white dude on there, I'm pretty happy with it. And also, it's a female-led film, so that's also another thing for me to support it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm game for more of these female-led films from the perspective that like a lot of times you have certain these storylines that feel tired when it's men, just because it's like there's not so much new that they can tell. And then when you have a female version sometimes of a very similar storyline, it feels fresh and new because there are new elements to it that you just wouldn't tell in the other way. And I feel like that will breed for when you do have stories with men, they won't feel as stale and repeated because they won't be repeated in as much volume. So
yeah. Also, like I'm glad that Kelly Tran gets to get like she got screwed over by the Star Wars franchise. I just want her to like.
Oh, Kelly Tran's this one?
She's the lead.
Oh, damn, that's good.
How about you? Do you any excitement for Raya?
Can I be completely honest with you guys? I have not seen the trailer.
I'm not surprised.
I honestly have no idea what this movie is about.
Yo, I don't know how to quite describe it, but it's like a badass 3D animated film. It looks like it's going to be great. I don't know. I got Umar. What movies would you say it's a cross between?
It kind of reminds me a little bit of like a Legend of Korra meets
Mulan-ish.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. I was gonna say Avatar, but Legend of Korra is a better. Yeah,
it feels more like a Mulan and Legend of Korra got together.
Interesting.
Yeah, hooked up.
All right. So we'll move on from that because, by the way, T, if I were to send you the trailer, would you watch it or nah?
You already did.
No, I mean, again.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You know you don't have to lie to me, right?
I do when I'm on camera.
All right. So next bit is like one of the big ones. So all of us watched the new season premiere. Did you of Superman and Lois?
I've seen the second episode too.
I've seen the second episode too. How about you, T?
Can I be completely honest with you guys? I have not.
There's a lead-in. There's more words in the lead-in than in the end.
All right, so like we will only be discussing the first episode. So those of you who haven't seen Superman and Lois and don't want to hear any spoilers, just stop watching right now or click into the time skip to go to our next topic. So, Darcy, how about you start off this discussion and review?
So, first things first, I'm still flabbergastedly surprised that I like something from CW right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot you did what you call it a review earlier on.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I was really surprised that I enjoyed a CW property, and ironically, like, The Flash is back now, and. It took me 2 sit downs to finish that first episode, and like I'm done Superman and Lois episodes, and I'm like, I want to see the next one. I want to see where it's going. Now there's goods and some bads, right? So the good part is that the heart of the show is so amazing. The family, what is brought to Clark Kent, and every time he's Superman around the family. Is really, really awesome. There's a scene, it's a sad scene where he loses his mother, and it's so impactful because he gets that phone call, and they're doing a good job here. They're doing less exposition, so he gets the phone call, and you just know something is wrong, and your immediate guess is like, because they prefaced earlier, his mom was like, on the phone, and so you knew this was coming, right? And then it was like, and the exact feeling of like his mom's dying. Some people will like panic, some people will like not do anything, and you just know he's gonna blast the hell out of there. Like he's not gonna care that he's in the office and how to get out of there. He's gonna fly from that exact spot, and it's just. Boom, and you could just see Lois stand there like this is serious.
Yeah,
and she just knows what whatever. And then he's like flies there, and he knows, and he gets there, and the doctor's like, Clark, like, how did you? Well, and then she's talking about his mother, like it doesn't matter, and you're just like, that's how much he doesn't care. He showed up from Metropolis to Smallville in probably like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
not feasible. He's like, what, you were in Smallville around the corner? Like literally that's where he would have had to been driving up the thing. Anyways, I love the heart of the show. Where the show's failing me a little bit. One, I do like the Man of Steel aesthetic, and I don't like the Man of Steel aesthetic. So what I do like about the Man of Steel aesthetic is the how the shots are composed compared to, like, say, the CW. CW is always tight shots, close to the face. The sets feel fake. Everything around you never get a feeling of the world. You just feel like there's just people and a set behind them, and it's just always up close, like a sitcom or something. Whereas with this show, you get to see the world. You get to see where they're in. They're not always standing so close. It feels like a film, right? Like they really thought about how to position people. What I don't like, just way too much green in the color. There's just too much freaking green. Like I mean, I don't need it to be bright if you want to make it grounded. That doesn't bother me that much, but it's just too much freaking green. I don't get it. Like sometimes it looks just disgusting, and I'm like, you just need to like back off that filter. But yeah, these are my initial thoughts. I'm gonna stop talking.
T, how about you? What were your thoughts of like the first episode?
I have a similar sentiment to the show as Darcy. I really, really was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. Going into the show, because I'm like, I like Superman, but I feel like unless he's given a really good story arc, he's kind of a bland character. And there is sometimes a lot of the way he's been depicted, it lacked heart. Like Man of Steel, I didn't have, like, I still enjoyed Man of Steel, but there was an element missing from the overall lore of Superman that I really wish they included in there. And I feel like they were kind of hinting at that in Justice League and then never really got to it. So hopefully we see that in the Zack Snyder cut. But anyway, I digress. Going back to the show, yeah, I really enjoyed. Initially, I didn't like what's the actor's name who plays
Tyler Hoechlin.
Yeah, I wasn't really feeling him in like his depiction on Supergirl. But he really sold me on this show. Like, given his own show, because I feel like and John Campea said this too, where like Superman, I guess rightfully so, has to kind of take a back seat when he's being a guest star on Supergirl. But it just that dynamic just never sat right with me, because it was like, you're Superman, you're not supposed to be weaker or get thrown around or tossed around like you're just nothing, right? So I never really liked how they portrayed him on Supergirl, but here he gets to shine in his own element, and he really, really stepped up, and he's now starting to sell me on both his portrayal of Superman and his portrayal as Clark Kent. Lois, she's there, she's doing her thing. It's all good. I often had to kind of look at the bottom right corner to make sure. I'm like, am I watching a CW show? Because it does not feel like CW at all. Like, I feel like it's on like it was from another network. If you watched The Flash and this show back to back like Darcy did, I'm willing to bet you could tell them apart. Like, it's just like they're on two different networks, it seems, right? But the thing is, so with CW, and if you look at some of their other superhero shows, like for example, Arrow, season 1, I know Umar, you as a whole just did not like Arrow, but I found season 1 to be amazing and probably the closest thing to a good Batman show, and I say that in quotes because they took a lot of shit from Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins series, but that was the closest thing to a Batman show that I feel like we're ever going to get. Hopefully I'm wrong about that, but
nah, man, we get the Batwoman show.
Man, okay, we're just gonna disregard that comment. I know you were joking, but shit, bro.
It hurts.
Yeah, no, I know. I was like coming in like the CW executives, like, but no, hold on.
Because you know they were thinking that, like, yeah. But yeah, so Arrow first season was great, and then it kind of took a downward spiral. Same with Smallville. Smallville season 1, I don't care what anyone says, Smallville season 1 was fucking amazing, and then it kind of just went to shit.
You don't kill me with Smallville. Is when I was young, it was the promise of what the show was going to give you.
Yeah.
And then it was like that girl who made you feel like you were going to become something, but just kept telling you were just friends.
Yeah.
and you just never got there. And then finally by the end, you're like, fine, I'll just do it to myself and leave.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
done.
yeah. No, I feel that. I feel that. No, I really liked Smallville season 1 though, because I remember like it was like the first season was really, really dark. There was one episode that really sticks to mind where the guy he gets he gets thrown into some pond, like some frozen pond or whatever that's like in fact that's infested with like kryptonite, and he gets this power where he like he has to absorb people's heat or else he dies, and he breaks into some girl's house, and while she's showering and like takes all of her heat, she freezes, and then she falls in the shower and shatters to pieces. And I was like, oh shit, like that's some dark shit, right? But anyway, again, I digress. Yeah, the show. So I feel like I'm hoping that the season remains, or the series remains strong, and it's not just like a CW trope where it's like, oh, the first season's really good, but then now we're gonna start adding all this bullshit and changing it because
drama.
Yeah, like adding more drama, like the drama that they have right now so far, especially with the kids. I like. It's not too over the top for me. It's somewhat believable. But I feel like there's a potential for them to push the envelope and be like, yeah, let's just overkill this whole thing and stick to those CW tropes that like we're all familiar with, which I strongly advise against. The villain is interesting. I'm kind of curious as to where that goes. You guys obviously know more than I do at this point, considering that you guys watched the second episode. Yeah, that's as much as I can say. Like, there's enough action there, and I like the drama. I like the fact that they stuck with the original. Or Umar, I guess you can confirm this. The original way that Pa Kent dies.
Well, the thing is, like, Pa Kent has died on so many different ways. Like in the comics,
I like the heart attack element, though. I like that.
For me, when I was watching it, it felt like a callback to Superman.
Yeah, even though that's not a big part of the overall show with this, I just like the fact that they threw that in there, and it's like, okay, yeah, good. Man of Steel did that shit like terribly wrong.
You know what? I'm actually happy, or sorry, I think that they almost did. He's like, when he died, he was like he was a kid, and it didn't look like he had his like any bit of his powers yet.
Mhm.
And it felt to me like the way when he died, especially being a heart attack, it was that like where they were is like, this is no Man of Steel. Like
Yeah,
they were like,
yeah.
there was nothing he could do, and he's like, and he was so young, so he wouldn't have been able to, like, I don't know, listen for a heart murmur in advance, because he wouldn't have been like, there's just not enough education to be like thinking of listening for a heart murmur at as like a young boy. So I felt like they were just like stepping away, like, not Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I felt it was a reference to the 1978 film, because in that one he still had his powers, and he said, I had all these powers, and I couldn't even save him.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. But regardless, I still just felt like they were like, we're just gonna put this in here, so you know we're not doing that.
Yeah. You were saying T, but you were talking about the Pa Kent, and then
I liked those little elements that they added in there. Yeah, overall, I think it's a good show so far. I'd give it a if I had to rate it based off of my first viewing, I'd give it maybe a 7.8.
Darcy, you're a 7.5?
Yeah, I think I put down as a 7.5. My only feeling besides that cinematography, like the greenness, is I'm a little worried when I see action. Like, there's elements of the action that are cool, like when they fight and they go into what's like Korea or something like that. Like, I like how it went around the world, but I liked how like you could see the world. But then there was like some of the CGI is a little bit weak because it is a show, it is CW, so they don't have so much budget. And some of the fights kind of remind, like some moments in fights, so the way they were shot kind of reminded me of other CW shows, and then other parts of the fights didn't remind me of CW shows at all. And I just worry that like budgets will be tight, and as the season progresses and we get more CW looking fights and plot lines, and that's kind of where I'm like, it would be an 8, but I have a fear.
Yeah, one thing that didn't make sense to me is that why was he keeping his powers a secret from his kids if there was a potential for them to inherit his powers as well? Like, wouldn't you want to get on that shit right away?
No.
Why not?
Let me give my review, and then we'll get like put a pin in that, because I actually do want to talk about that.
Yeah.
So for me, I would give this series the 7.5 out of 10 myself. I agreed with you what you guys said wholeheartedly. This did not feel like a CW show. There were like minor-ish aspects of CW, and that predominantly was focused on the kids. And I would say like the whole thing with the kids felt the most CW out of all of it, and it's also my least favorite aspect of this show. And frankly, it's not good for me because that's definitely going to be like they're not going to get rid of the kids because that's the whole point of the show. So like I'm going to have to figure out how to deal with that. I would say that the things that I liked, Tyler Hoechlin. I talked to you guys about him before. He is literally the best Superman I've seen since Christopher Reeve. Sorry, Darcy. I know you're a big Henry Cavill fan, but like Tom Welling, Dean Cain, and also Henry Cavill. I had a lot of hope for Henry Cavill, but it's not his fault. I don't blame him. I blame the source material that he was working with.
I feel like we could see a real wholesome thing with the.
He could have gotten it right. It's just that he wasn't given a chance to. So like, I'm not blaming him. I'm blaming them. But like with Tyler Hoechlin, he has been given the right stuff, and he's been doing it the right way. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of is I don't like his new suit. But then again, I wasn't a big fan of the last suit either. But it's like this one, it looks like the suit is trying to make him look bigger.
Yeah.
It's making his head look smaller.
That bugs me. Like, honestly, like, yeah, he's slender. So either commit to him being slender and give him a tighter suit. And just like, Superman, yes, is historically big, but because he's an alien, that's just our view on things. He could be regular sized and still extremely strong. So like, just commit to his size.
And also his size is like, if like, not like for all the women who probably enjoy this, you take off his shirt, he's not gangly, he's not like anything. He's a built dude. So like, it's fine. Give him like a skin tight shirt. It's not going to be bad. We're not looking at a Patty Pattinson situation here.
Yeah, I know. It just looks like he's like regular clothing, and then he goes to fight, and it's like, what is he, flex? Like and puff out before he gets into a fight? Yeah. Like.
So now, in terms of like Lois, I'm still getting used to the actress. I haven't really seen her that much before, so I'm just getting used to her. I'm not a huge fan of the fact that they're undercutting her character and like making her less feminist as they want her to be. I'm with you guys. I love the relationship that they have. I like the fact that like the human element is my favorite part. And going back to what you were saying, Darcy, like the scene with his mom, the fact that like Superman like just bolted, didn't fucking care. He just bolted because his mom was sick. He gets to see, and like the Man of Steel is brought down to his knees in tears and is like nearly broken from the death of his mother. And even the cinematography in that scene, like they kept focusing on specific random aspects, like the doorknob, the bed frame, the hand. He's doing everything he can not to look at his mother and see her dead face. Like this is CW doing it right, as opposed to what it has done the entire run of its series. Also, now this like I love the human elements of like with like General Lane, but also like I love the callback to Superman 3, even though that movie was kind of weak, when he like he's using Arctic breath.
Yeah.
When has he ever used Arctic breath in like the last decade?
Yeah, that was a sick opening.
Yeah, like and also like he freezes it, brings it into just like in Superman 3, brings it in, and we're just like, okay, I'm digging it. Like I can see the Man of Steel being the Man of Steel, but then he's being Clark, and he's being a good Clark. Like when he first meets Lois for the first time, and also like the fact that like his kids are even like, Dad can't even put up a Christmas tree without knocking everything over, and I'm like, thank you. Like this is Clark Kent and Superman, and Tyler, you're killing it. And like his interactions with his father-in-law, like his father-in-law who used to hate him now has to like be on his side because he's married, but also he's there for his grandkids, and they've given the kids, like one's a superstar, one's got mental health issues. I don't think they're doing it very well, but like nonetheless they're trying, which is a lot better than what they've ever done before. And like you think one is going to have the powers, the other one gets it instead. I like that dynamic. I'm not enjoying the actors they got going for it. Like the dude who's like, they go into a bar and he comes out finding out that they have like a spaceship, and he freaks out. I'd be like, yo, Dad, you got a spaceship? would tell me everything. I wouldn't be like, how could you lie to me? But again, CW.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, like going back to what you were saying, Tactix, why wouldn't he tell him? In my mind, his reasoning is completely sound. They're kids, they're teenagers. He is literally having to keep his secret for himself and protect himself, because if the secret gets out, not only will he be in trouble, the family is going to be in trouble. And of course you're not going to tell a child this big of a secret.
Yeah, but the thing is, if they have inherited his powers as well, then that's irresponsible, because if they don't know that if they don't know that they have these powers, and they go out and they're living their average everyday lives, and then they actually injure or kill somebody, then who's taking the responsibility for that?
But there was a point where he's like, the test in the fortress was saying that like they didn't have like it was like basically he was saying that like the tests didn't fully confirm that they had powers even at all, or that they ever would.
But there is still a chance that they could have powers. So why wouldn't you play the odds? Like
he had the dichotomy of the problem, which is like one half is like, yeah, so you say in doing prevention, but the other problem, they talked about this too, is that like, what if they tell them about it and they never get powers, and then that develops into feelings of inferiority, right? Resentment and jealousy. And so he had that, like, there is no right answer. He just had to make one.
But there's more of a risk involved if he doesn't tell them.
Not necessarily, because
how not? Because if they do get the power,
it's just as likely that they wouldn't get powers if for them
50,
to get powers.
It's 50-50.
Yes, yeah. But you're also thinking about, like, these are children, and their development is important. And if you burden them with a secret this big, and also they're seeing their father like disappearing, potentially for life-threatening situations, and also they're being neglected, and also the fact that they're not developing powers themselves, that's a lot for children to handle, that they will go down a difficult path.
Dude, I understand that, but okay, look what happened in the first episode with him when with the other kid,
Jordan.
And yeah, Jordan, and he got mad and it created a whole explosion. What if he had done that to somebody's body and just exploded that person? The psychological damage that kid could endure from that, considering that he's already suffering from a mental illness, like that's a huge risk, man.
And that's the point, though. It is a huge risk, and he had to make a decision on which half of the huge risk was. The one, though, he has certainty of potentially ruining the psyche, and the other half is it might turn horrible. But he chose the side of, like, it might turn horrible over the side of, I know more than likely it's going to be a bad thing.
I just think that's a bad risk to take, because because consider the fact that when he came to Smallville as a kid, he had the guidance of his parents to help him with his powers. If this were the case where it goes 50-50, or it goes in the other direction, in the sense that they start developing powers, because there's a potential risk that they could gain powers, and if they don't know where they're coming from, and they're in the heat of the moment and get triggered emotionally and end up killing somebody as a result of their powers going out of control, then that's a huge risk that Clark has to now take on. And then on top of that, the psychological implications that are going to be put on the kid for having had done that.
But also think of it this way, like, he has been watching them closely and testing them throughout their childhood.
He hasn't been watching them close. He hasn't even been around. That's already been established in the first season, in the first episode.
Lois is watching them.
And the thing is, like, they have consistently, for I forget how old they are right now, but they have been consistently shown to be exactly the same for the majority of their
They're
life.
Also teenagers. The parents can't always be around. Like, are you when you were growing up, were your parents always around monitoring every single thing that you were doing?
But what we're saying is, like, like, if you tell them, it is going to cause psychological harm. Absolutely. And also the thing is, like, with Clark, with his situation, they only started telling him about the fact that he had, well, I don't know how they did it in the TV series, but like they only started telling him when he started developing powers, and he started developing powers pretty quickly. So that they had to tell him. They had to show him that. I'm fairly certain if he never developed powers, Martha and Jonathan probably would have waited until he was like old enough in their mind and mature enough to handle the fact that he was adopted, let alone from another planet.
Yeah, but I think that with that being the case, I think he should have saw that situation based off of how he grew up and what his parents did and say, you know what, I should do things differently and take initiative and tell my kids regardless.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, we're not going to agree. And I think that end of itself means that we have better content in our hands. We have a difficult human decision, and not every human is going to answer it the same way, you
Yeah.
know? And so, you know, he had the like.
So you motherfuckers wouldn't tell your kids that you had power, that like, really?
If it was this, if it was like 50-50, and like again, we're assuming 50-50, but like if it's 50-50 that nothing is going to happen, I'm not going to burden them with all this sort of stuff. Especially like it also depends. Like, am I Superman in this situation, or is it just powers in general?
I guess it's Superman.
Okay, so if it's Superman, I'd be watching him and testing him every year, and predominantly wanting to see. But if he is consistently shown not to be having that capabilities, no, I'm not going to really tell.
Yeah, and what
you would also never tell him, never, ever.
I would say never, but like until he is like mature and capable enough to handle the situation. But also remember, I can't like. I need him to get past the point where he wants to like tell someone that like his dad's Superman because he wants to impress someone.
Yeah, I honestly I wouldn't be telling them until they're adults and have been through some situations in their life. Nothing's ever gonna be relative, but enough situations to know what it means to be like an adult and some of the stuff you have to go through. And
it's a heavy burden, man.
And
I
it's
just wouldn't have kids.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think they thought that they were going to either. But
wrap it up, Superman. You're like, come on, man.
you know, one thing though, I'm sure that wouldn't help.
Or pull out, bro.
You know, one other thing I also think that also plays a factor here, not a huge one, but I think like, well, one, actually two pieces. One, him and his wife made a decision together, so that plays a part of it too. Like, it's not just him. And two, they're the general too. I know that you gotta know that general is also watching them like crazy, and in the perspective that like the mother and the father are going to see them every day, and you know they're going to be like debating on what they see because they're seeing the everyday progression, and that man's going to come in because he was not holding back, right? He'll come in and be like, this is how I see it. But the thing I also liked about him, just kind of switch topics a little bit, is that when I wasn't really thinking about like the name of the show until he came in and he said like, you're not married to Clark, you're married to Superman. And I was like, that's why it's Superman and Lois, not Lois and Clark. It is Superman and Lois. This show is going to be all about the dichotomy of being Superman and what that means to everything that's like the human aspect of the show. So
yeah, and I also like the fact that like General Lane, who was like a big enemy of Superman for like the early years, like he spends time with his grandkids. He takes them out like for like fishing and stuff. He's trying to bring Jordan out of his shell. He's he's proud of who Jonathan is becoming, and at the same time he gets in his daughter's face. He's like, yo, you can't stop your husband from doing shit. And it's like, I can. And he's like, then you're costing lives. And it also, like, the fact that, like, we had this big of a debate over, like, what is the right or wrong situation is the fact that, I mean, the CW did this.
Yeah.
And, like, a TV show on that show actually creates something for us to actually have a debate over. And none of us are like, yo, that was handled stupidly. Like, that was written badly. The acting was all atrocious. We're like, yo, we're on the same page, but we just have different opinions of why.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good storytelling.
Yeah, we're not all here saying, this is how they should have done it.
Yeah, and honestly, for me, I have an issue, as I said before, with the kids. The kids are like, like the fight sequences. I know, Darcy, you have your thing with it, but for me, compared to what we've had in the past, I'm actually quite pleased with this depiction of Superman. Not to give spoilers, but in the second episode, it kind of furthered my opinion of that. Now, then again, I do kind of see the point of they're going to run out of money soon, and so therefore they're going to start cutting back on some shit. But nonetheless, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I actually like the series. And what I love is the fact that it's taking it from the perspective of, let's not make Superman a god among men. It's like, let's show the humanity of someone with godlike powers.
Yeah. It's really good. I'm 2 episodes in, and I can't wait for a third. And it's one of the few shows right now that I'm actually excited to see. I'm not just kind of watching it like to fill the time.
Yeah, I will say I have been, and we'll just touch on this a little bit because we have about a few minutes left. But like the controversy towards Superman Lois actually bothered me a lot. I can see the beginning signs of it, just the beginning signs of it. I really fucking hope that they do not let it get out of control. But the controversy is that the head writer, who was I forget her name, but she was a black woman who basically was trying to limit the amount of Me Too movements that was being done. T, we lost you.
He messed up his webcam, aka his high-end camera. Just keep talking. We'll just ignore that.
She kind of was trying to limit the amount of Me Too comments that were coming in the writers' room, but also she was trying to like broaden Lois's storyline more and to actually bring in more diversity into the show, not making them like, either C or D level characters and or villains. And that wasn't really being appropriately well received by CW, so she got fired. What are you guys' views on that?
I'm saddened to hear that. I'm hoping it doesn't turn into a big negative, but I could definitely see that, especially with where they're telling the show, Smallville, small white town, like they won't give a whole lot of diversity, even though they should, because it's modern era, so people would have moved all over the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm staying with you. I just hope it doesn't turn into a big deal.
Tactix,
you still there?
Yeah.
Nice.
Sorry, I got distracted. I did not hear any of that. So yeah, you can just move on. You guys,
no. So the controversy is the head writer. She got fired for trying to stop all the Me Too negative comments that are in the writers' room, not to make like Lois have a nothing storyline, and also trying to like bring more diversity into the cast that isn't like a C or D level character that's also a villain.
Yeah, I agree with that. I it sucks that she got fired. I definitely do think that this show could use some diversity, and especially in regards to the comment about Lois, I feel like she doesn't really have much to do right now, and which is weird considering that it's Superman and Lois.
Yes, that was actually her exact statement. It's like, I'm trying to give a proper storyline for Lois because her name is in the title.
Yeah, the show might as well be Superman featuring Lois occasionally, right? Like, I don't know.
And like he basically took his wife and moved her into like the middle of buttfuck nowhere, and it's Lois Lane he did this to.
Yeah, like is she unemployed? Like, is she not working at the Daily Planet anymore? Like, what's going on with that?
You'll find out.
Wait, second episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But even in the first episode, that was my question. I'm like, did she just quit her job and move into to a farm?
And dude has school. He's on the varsity team or some shit. And like,
yeah, they definitely have some fleshing out to do there.
They were way too chill about moving to small. I'm like, if that was me, I'd be like, what? Like, I got a girlfriend back home, yo. I can't just move.
Exactly.
Like, they were just like, oh yeah, cool, Dad. We can like, lift some hay and like, ride around in the tractor and like attend to the crops and shit. I'm like, what? No, y'all are city folk. Like, this is not what you do. Like, you wouldn't be that chill about it.
I love the scene when like they're at the house and he's talking to the girlfriend and he's like, "Hey, Eliza," and I'm like, "That's such a Clark thing to do."
Crazy, man. Yeah.
No, and also, how close is Smallville to Metropolis, anyways?
It's like, I think like a 3-hour drive or something.
Yeah, okay.
Seems that way, yeah.
I'm just like I never get that sense in anything ever Superman. So I'm like, how far is this? Like, how big of a move are they doing? Right? Is it like 3 hours or like 3 states?
Yeah. Well, all right, guys. We're running out of time, so we're gonna wrap things up here. I'm your boy Tactix.
Yo, it's just Darcy.
And this is Big Geek Umar. Like and subscribe and live long and prosper. I fucked it up again.
Later, y'all.